Hello, everybody. It's Renee Cormier from the Fractional Referral Network. Today, I have with me um, Sagar Podilapu. Did I get that right? Yes, I got it right. He's with us, and Sagar is an excellent is an expert in lead generation and online ads and marketing strategy. So he helps businesses turn leads into loyal customers through smart automation and data-driven insights. So let's get ready to learn some of the biggest lead generation mistakes companies make and how to fix them and what's actually working in 2025. We've got some special problems in 2025 now with AI and Google's algorithm changes and things like that. So that really creates some interesting challenges for the Google ad expert. So tell me, before we get into that, Sagar,
Yeah,
what really inspired you to get into lead generation and marketing automation?
sure. Thanks, Renee, for welcoming me to your webinar. Um, Now, what inspired me? That's a very good question to start with. So, I was a software developer most of my career. For almost about 12 years of my career, I was developing code end to end, deploying front end, back end, and everything. And as a part, I was also working with marketing consultants in my company too, because I was very curious on what these guys do. Because most of the times I was building marketing technology products. And I was speaking to these small business owners when I started my side hustle. I started this as a side hustle and started speaking with business owners, and I realized that they always tell me the same thing, like Google ads don't work, online ad don't work. I'm just draining money. It's a money grab program. So I used to hear a lot of these complaints, and that got me curious. Like, will this really work? Because I see Google's advertisement is a billion-dollar industry. It's not just million-dollar industry, and I see a lot of companies spend money on Google Ads. So I just got curious, and I went down the rabbit hole of what is Google Ads, what makes an ad a good Google ad, will Google Ads ever work? What are the combinations that I need with Google Ads to make it really work? So that made me very curious, and I got my answers. I went down to Facebook groups, school groups, and I went down to Reddit. So I networked with a lot of lead gen consultants who are working in US, in Canada, who are working with budgets more than $10,000 a month. And I kind of prepared my notes, prepared my strategy, and then said, okay, let me replicate what these big guys are doing. Can I even do this on small business owners? So that's what inspired me to get into lead generation. Like, I see the problems small business owners face, the questions they had, and I wanted to actually solve that problem, whether Google Ads work for small business owners or not. And that inspired me to do the lead generation.
Okay. So you touched a little bit on some of the problems people had. Like what are the real misconceptions about online ads and lead generation?
So, um, the two types of misconceptions. One from the business owners themselves. Like, business owners don't really have the knowledge or time to actually know about Google Ads. They just maybe they log in into Google Ads, put their credit card, and start a smart ad and keep running it maybe with a budget of $10 or $15 a day. So that actually doesn't really work, because when we are just starting a smart ad, an ad that doesn't have a target audience, doesn't have a budget limitations, doesn't have a keyword strategy, or doesn't have a location strategy, those ads don't really work much. So the biggest misconception these small business owners have is that, hey, I did set up my ad, but I don't see anything now. Google is taking this $20 a day, or even Facebook too. I have seen a lot of realtors, mortgage brokers, they boost their post, but don't really get anything in return. So the biggest is that, like, will Google Ads really work, was the biggest misconception I've seen from the business owners. Now the second one I see is from the marketing companies too. So most marketing companies I network with are like SEO companies, web design companies, social media marketing companies, they also have this misconception where, hey, will Google Ads really work? They're expensive. They're very expensive for my clients. And we don't see any results, right? Let's say when you spend $1,000 every month on marketing and see $0 coming out of it, that's a big pain for both, like for marketing companies and as well as the small business owners. So the next biggest misconception these guys have is like, Google Ads is just a waste of money in my marketing channel. So these are the biggest two misconceptions. One, Google Ads ever work? Or Google Ads are just expensive that, I don't get any results from it.
Okay. So, I like you talked a little bit about smart ads. I always feel like they're stupid ads.
Absolutely. They're not really smart ads.
I often wonder, they try to make it look like anyone can do it, but the reality is there's quite an art and science to running a digital ad, whether
Hmm.
it's Facebook or Google. There's it's more complicated than just putting up some copy and hitting go, right?
Right, right.
Yeah.
But it doesn't.
So
Yeah, it's different. It's so yeah. Go ahead. What's
so
your
what's the
question?
big reason that people like they do these things, they put up all these ads and they waste money? So what's missing? What's the big what's the advantage that you have over like
Right.
just an ordinary business person or a person who just technically knows how to set up a Google ad? Like I'm not a Google ad specialist or any kind of an ad specialist. I can create an ad. I don't know how good it would be.
So yeah, so there are four key things to consider whenever we're running Google Ads. The first and foremost is the target audience, right? Like it gives me two things to work with. One, like Google Ads platform has an audience section. It's a big section. They have affinity, that means who are most likely to be interested in your category. And the second is custom audiences, like people who already visited your website or subscribers information. So what does audience tell me is one, whom do I target? Two, what are the pain points? So again, the biggest problem I see with Google Ads is the copy, right? Like from 100 years, we have marketing, we have copywriting in marketing, and we have these big guys, Joseph Sugarman, Joe Vitale, cash advertising. So all these guys are always talking about how good copy converts an ad into a qualified lead, right? So people forget that they just use generic things, right? Like number one lead gen consultant. Nobody's going to buy that. We have to
No.
talk about the pain points. So knowing our audience will help us know what pain points they go through. So the first thing is poor targeting. So always try to have a very good targeting. And the second is a weak creative, right? Weak ad creatives. People just throw buzzwords in there. They're not actually talking to the emotions of the audience. So we only have 2 seconds to grab attention. Make sure the ads stand out. Like use something like say, hey, why do dogs buy Google Ads? Right? Like that makes people curious. Oh, do dogs buy Google Ads? Right? Something, use something that grabs the attention. The next thing is no clear offer, right? Like, so I see again, if I have five services, I've like I see most businesses put all those five services into the ads. That doesn't really work because the budget's low, the targeting's low, and the pain points are different for all of these services. So having a kind of a very good offer for one of the services, right? Let's say I would say 500 off of Google Ads this month. So if that's there in my ads, that might pick interest from people who are already buying Google Ads, right? Say somebody's already spending $1,000 on a month on Google Ads and they see this $500 off, they might be interested in engaging with the ad. So have a very good offer. And the next one is the lack of tracking. So the best thing about Google Ads is that, let's say, a conversion. What's a conversion? Somebody is coming to your website, they click on contact. That's a conversion because they're trying to contact you. It could be a competition, it could be your audience, or it could be someone who is interested to know about you, right? So contact is a conversion. Now, when they fill the information and submit, that's a second conversion. Now, there are at least 10% more interested than people who are leaving my website. Now, there's another phase. You book a meeting with them, that's a conversion. So you can feed that back to Google Ads. Now, what happens here when you're tracking your information, Google Ads will find similar people. Like, we don't believe that Google has all the information, what we are searching, what apps we are using, what kind of content we are consuming. And now, when Google knows this and we know who are our customers that are converting, ads become very powerful. They become very targeted. So these are the
Yes.
four major aspects people don't do, and I do. Is that no targeting, no proper targeting, know your audience, know their pain points, have a clear ad creative, right? So your ad creative should grab attention, and then have a very irresistible offer. So have an offer, especially if you're running a webinar, a event, or something that can help your audience. You can run that. The fourth one is tracking. Always track what people are doing on your website.
Okay, so you talk about creating the ad and you know, we touched a little bit on money. Like how much is worth doing? Because I'm thinking if your budget of advertising budget is like 25, $30 a day, you're not going to see anything. You'll burn that up in a few minutes,
Hmm.
depending on your keywords and so on, right?
Right.
So what how do you determine what the budget should be? Because I think it sort of depends on who your competitors are and what they're doing in that space. Because if your main competitors aren't actually using Google Ads, then you can have a fairly low budget, right?
Right.
But if you're competing, so for example, I used to work for a marketing company that focused on the automotive industry, and the automotive industry spends a shit ton of money on
Hmm.
ads, and they will pay a fortune for those top
Yes.
ranking words. They don't care because it's going to translate as far as they're concerned. I don't know if it actually does, but
Hmm.
they have the belief that this will work for them, and they
Right.
do. So like it's really hard to compete for those top words. It can get very expensive, and they spend thousands and thousands of dollars
Hmm.
a month, $5,000 to $10,000 a month on Google Ads, and anything less is not worth it for them. Like
Hmm.
if you go to them and you tell them that you'll run their Google ads for $2,000 a month, they will think you're an amateur because
Yeah.
you can't
That's the budget.
possibly be that good because we're used to spending 10 grand a month,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
So tell me what do you what's the budget and how do you figure out what it should be?
Yeah. So Google also has guidelines for everything, right? So usually Google operates on a CPC model. It's a cost per click. So
Mhm.
whenever someone is clicking on the ad, there's a cost incurred there. So how I actually set up budgets for campaigns is totally based on the industry. So every industry has a different CPC. So service-based businesses like professionals, the CPC is $10, whereas restaurants, the CPC is 80 cents, and there is a local service like a plumber or a HVAC company, the CPC is $6. So now the first thing I see, like Google also gives these tools to for us to understand how much does each click cost. It gives an average cost and it gives a top, like a high cost. So based on that, now I go back and see how many clicks do I need to convert, one person to submit a form, or one person to purchase, add to cart, or call me, right? So usually there are industry standards, so there are companies that do this research and they release this data every 3 months saying that, okay, the industry average for restaurants, for every 10 clicks one person will purchase. So now I calculated back, okay, 10 clicks, 80 cents cost per click, that's $8. So for every $8, I get one click or one conversion on my website. Now for
Right.
service-based professionals, that one lead or becomes 10 leads because they have to now have 10 leads to convert one person into booking a meeting. So now it become $80, right? So $80 is my cost to get one booking, one meeting. So I always go like that, and then I frame this question back to my clients. Okay, how many meetings do you want each day? Now, if you want one meeting, it's $80.
Right.
So that's $80 per day. And now, hey, I want two meetings, it's $160 per day. Someone will say, okay, I need one meeting every 5 days. Oh, that's 80 by 5. So it's 1 and 6, so $16 a day, right? So I calculate it based on, I have a calculator. I can share that with you. It's a Google Excel sheet where you
Mhm.
put how many meetings you want, and then it just gives you how much you have to spend each day.
Oh, that's a good tool to have. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So now coming back to the monthly budgets, right? So I usually start, if it's a local business, it's $50 a day. So we start with, $50 a day to, again, if someone, they did not run an ad before, right? If you're already running ads, if you have data, then I, come with a figure based on the data, right? Like say, okay, I see there are already 1,000 people who engaged with your ads. That's a good data. Then maybe, we might need another $100, $200 a day to test that audience. If you're new, I won't want you to spend a lot unless until you know clearly who is your audience on Google Ads, because every platform has its own audience, right? Like Facebook has its own audience. They act differently, they behave differently. Google has a different audience. They act differently, they behave differently. So if you're just starting out, start with a $50 a day budget, get the data, track your ads, track your landing page, track your offer, and then scale from there. So I would say anyone who wants to start out, the best amount they can spend is $50 a day, and then scale from there as you keep on seeing results, as you keep getting more data from your ads.
So, would you suggest that like when you onboard a new client, you do like maybe 3 months at a time? How do you, because you're not going to see results right
Results,
away,
yeah,
right?
absolutely,
You're
yeah,
still trying to figure out, where your feet belong,
right,
right?
yeah. So usually, um, I take 15 days to the market research. I have to do the market research, industry research, audience research. I do an extensive research on ads as well, like what are the current ads that's being run on the platform. Like it's all transparent. Like we'll
Right.
get to know that. There is a Google Ads transparency library. If you search for it, you see it. You enter a competition into it or a
Mhm.
industry into it, it shows up all the ads of that. So I do all my research. So it takes 15 days for the research, and then we start the ads. It will take 30 days for Google to learn from the offer. So the keywords, the landing page, audience, timings, locations. So based on these five factors, Google will learn our offer. Of course, it
Right.
shows to people like different types of audience, and then tries to convert that funnel, like converge that funnel into, okay, these are the only people who might be interested in your ads. So that takes 30 days. So 30 days and 50 days. So we have this 45 days lead up time, and 45 days is where we actually see the results of the ads
After 45
after
days.
45
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
And
So
yeah,
for people who are not well versed in running ads, then that's got to be a lot longer.
longer. If they don't know what they're doing, right? If they, yeah, if the targeting is off, I mean, I won't. For those cases, it will take a lifetime because you're not setting up the ads properly. You won't get the data. You don't know what's happening. So it's a constant learning for them. So I would say, yeah, 45 days is the minimum time. And sometime, for some businesses, let's say if the sales cycle is long, like there are some businesses like insurance, or not that general insurance, but investment insurance, clients take 6 months to go with someone. So if the sales cycle is long too, maybe the ad cycle will also be long. So
Right.
it all depends on these factors. Yeah.
So I guess that might be part of the incentive for Google to make your first $600 or something. They'll reimburse you
Yes,
because
that's a
they
credit.
know, they know that, but you got to spend the money to get the money. They don't just drop it there, but you spend your 600 or whatever it is, and then, you get that credited back.
Mhm.
But that's because of that, I guess, right?
Yes.
Because of that learning curve, right? Trying to
Mhm.
figure out exactly, what needs to be done. But still, digital ads over traditional advertising is like way more cost efficient,
Yeah.
and the way better data. You never really
Yes.
had data. Marketing used to be, questionably effective. But now it's like, yeah, your digital ads, you know exactly where you are and who's
Yeah.
clicking and what they're doing and what's interesting to them and so on. And you can go not just, predicting, I always say a lead is only as good as the person who is converting it,
Yeah.
who is
Absolutely.
handling it. So even when your company gets, 100 leads or whatever, if you have a sales team that is um, not effectively doing anything with them, then you've
The
wasted
miss.
your money. So
Yeah.
everybody's got to work together. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, yeah. Follow-ups is a very important aspect for lead generation, right? Like we always tell my clients, if someone's leaving their phone number, call within 5 minutes. Because they're shopping for
Yeah.
stuff. They're not only looking at one business, they're looking at five different businesses, and they'll always go with that person who attends the call within the 5 minutes. And then also, right, like sales skills, like they should have, like they should, overcome the objections, make sure the person understands the value of their offer. So yeah,
Yeah.
as you said, marketing and sales should work hand in hand to make sure this entire lead generation is successful.
So is Google a better format for B2C audiences than B2B, or does it kind of depend on the industry?
So B2C, Google Ads is intent based, right? Like say people are searching for things right now. When they're searching for things, we already know that they are looking for some information or to buy something. So Google Ads I always use for kind of lead generation because they're already looking for something. B2B on the other side, yes, sometimes people look for it, but B2B is more demand generation. That means if there are multiple options in front of us and we want to make sure we stand out, right? Say somebody is looking to buy a software, somebody is looking to buy a lawyer or book a lawyer. A lawyer is still B2C, but business lawyers, right? Let's say I'm a business owner, sole proprietor. I want to convert this into an incorporation. So Facebook ads, these are the demand gen. That means now we are going with an offer, a unique offer when they're not searching for us, right? These guys are not really searching for us. If they're searching for us, it's Google Ads. If they are not, we generate the demand now. We show our ad, we show our unique ad, maybe Super Bowl level ad to these guys so that they submit their form. Oh, I'm seriously looking to convert my sole proprietorship to incorporation. Can you help me? And then that becomes a lead. So
Right.
again, it depends on your offer, your audience, where they hang out the most. Sometimes ads on Forbes might work, right? Like I call it programmatic ads. So programmatic ads are ads which we place them on websites. So like someone's reading Forbes article, that could be your audience, and if they see your ad, maybe then they might contact you. So it all depends on your ads, industry,
Right.
and what you want to do with that. So yeah.
Okay. So definitely always need a strategy anyway. Like you
Yes. Yeah.
don't
You
just
just
throw it
don't
up
do.
against the wall and see if it sticks.
Yeah, exactly. You need a strategy to understand, the target audience, where they hang out, what they want to read, and when they react. So,
So how is AI affecting people's Google ad strategies now? Like I would think that a lot has changed because people are searching differently. They're not even necessarily using Google to search for
right.
things. Like they'll just ask ChatGPT.
Mhm.
So how do you adjust your ad strategy so that you can capture, um, let's say I don't even bother with Google, and this is going to be this is a trend now that people, because Google is just providing at the top of every search.
Mhm.
It used to be that you did a search and a bunch of websites would come up. Now you do a search and you get a big AI thing about that
Summary.
thing, and then you get somewhere in between this, that, and the other are ads, and you might find your website. So where your website might have come into the top three, you're now on page three.
Mm-hmm.
So so you're never going to be seen. So how do you how do you adjust your strategy and your content and all of that stuff to maximize that change in the algorithm and Google's way of doing things?
Absolutely. So one thing I mean, maybe in the future this might come, but AI is being now used for mostly educating people, right? I wanna let's say I want to do marketing strategy, what works best for my business. AI can give you that. Like, okay, hey, Google ads might be good for your business. Maybe run Facebook ads, maybe run some sort of email marketing as well. So AI is more about educating people. But when it comes to businesses, choosing businesses to do business with, right? I need a plumber. AI won't fix it. A plumber will only fix it. So where do we find this plumber? Maybe AI can give us, okay, what are the top 10 plumbers in, Waterdown, right? It might give those top 10 um, as a results, but people still want to do more research on these guys. But where do they do that research? They do that research on Google. They might do that research on Facebook. So AI is definitely, I call it a third arm for us. It's helping us doing a lot of other things, but still we do definitely need, for transactions, right, to make business with, we definitely need the, the Google stuff, like the website link or the offer that needs to be shown, because AI is only a summary. It won't really show us the glamour or the unique value proposition of our offer. So people will use AI to summarize things, but still scroll down to see, what the people were offering these type of services. So I would say that's thing. But in the future, again, like in the future, AI can become that one single platform for transactions too, right? Let's say, hey, book a meeting with this plumber, call this plumber, right?
Right.
That can happen. Now that's a whole different strategy now. It's no more ads now. I call this language learning model, sorry.
Yes.
LLM is the one that's driving these AIs. And in the future, we can inject data into these LLMs. Let's say I give the entire data of standard marketing to my LLM, and now LLM will give me specific instructions or give my target audience specific instructions on how to buy my services, how to book my meeting, how to know more information about my services. So that's something I'm exploring too, like how can we inject data into chat gpt, so that when, like, I call it chat gpt SEO, right? Like chat
Yes.
gpt optimization, they're calling
Yes.
AIO, artificial intelligence
Yes.
optimization, right?
Yeah.
So AIO, to make sure that ChatGPT promotes you than, the fourth best person or the fifth best person.
Yes. Generative engine optimization, I believe is what it's called. GEO. Yeah.
GEO. Okay.
There's a word for it.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah.
But it's new. It's new. So
It's
no,
new. It's very new. It's
very new.
very, very new. Yeah.
I only came across it the other day. So like, maybe even yesterday. Pretty, yeah, I just thought that's interesting because yeah, like I've done it where I want, who are the best providers of such and such a service for my
Hmm.
business. And I
Right.
just don't even bother with Google now. I just do it through Chat GPT, and
Hmm.
it will tell me everything about, it'll come up with a whole bunch of things and it will tell me why they're different and how they're different and so on. So the way you um, present your company and the things you do has to be different so that the AI will pick up on that as a backdoor option, because you're not going to be able to advertise on
Yes.
you're not going to be able to advertise on Chat GPT, at least not at this point.
Not at
And
this point.
who knows? But you want to be able to leverage your Google opportunities in multiple ways. I
Yes.
imagine.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
So tell me, now this has been a really interesting discussion, so I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Um, tell me what are you working on now? Like what exciting product projects are you working on?
Okay. I'm working with a course provider, an e-learning company,
Okay.
and they have these courses which they want to advertise to their target audience. And the target audience is lawyers, lawyers who want to upgrade their career, right? So lawyers,
US or Canadian based?
both US and Canadian. Um,
Okay.
but we're majorly marketing in inside Canada because my client's Canadian, and always like this, like Canadians like to buy from Canadians, maybe
Especially lately.
lately now these days, right? So Canadian client.
Sorry, guys. Now more than ever.
Canadian client, Canadian audience. So we are driving people. So we are running two types of funnels. One funnel is the top of the funnel. That means people looking only for information, right? Like, can I become a mediator? Can I how much it costs to become a mediator? So that's top of the funnel. People are only looking for information, and then we're
Right.
also running the bottom of the funnel where, okay, buy mediation courses online. Um, Best mediation trainer in Toronto. So we're running, two campaigns here, one for the top of the funnel, one for the bottom of the funnel, and it's working really well. So the project, so the entire project I was working on is more about tracking. So we had these trackers placed on the website, and every time someone purchases the course, and the courses are very expensive too, right? We are driving people, we're pushing people to purchase it online. Usually, only 1 out of 10 guys do that. The rest five call us before they want to purchase. So we have two conversion points: people who buy the course online, people who call us and buy the course offline or online. So we track, we feed that data back to Google, and now Google's really, so our ads, these have been running from August 2024. So it's been almost all 8 months till now. So they're very matured now. Like, Google Ads is something where if you keep on running, they get matured. Google now is finding more
Getting
and more
better.
people. Yeah, more and more people who are more likely, right? Like, people search every day, they search. So now Google is trying to put forward our ads to people who are actively searching for these courses. So it's really interesting project I'm working on. Again, when I set up ads, it's not just one time exercise. We work on that every week, right? Like, we look at the Google keywords, what are keywords bringing us traffic. If there's any keyword that's like a competition brand, we have to exclude that. Any keyword that says free mediation courses, we have to exclude that. So we do that maintenance, and then also every now and then we have to feed the data back to Google Ads, right? Somebody who purchased, I have to take the ID, Google Ad ID, feed back to the Google Ads so that it finds more and more. So yeah, it's very interesting. um, on the marketing side, like, I do develop a lot of stuff, my own business too, not just for my clients. So I'm working on, I call this prompt engineering, right? Like, everyone's trying to do that. What's my best prompt to get my results? So I'm working on this prompt that can help me generate these ad creatives real quick. Like, previously we used to brainstorm a lot. It used to take 5 to 6 days to create these creatives, but now I'm working on these prompts to give it to my chat GPT. Like, I give my business, my client's business to it, and my prompts and my research, and then it now spits out, like, we need 8 headlines, 15 descriptions, six call
Right.
outs, right? So it gives me that
So you
information.
get a sort of a perfect ad,
Yes,
hopefully.
perfect
Yeah.
ad. I get the
Yeah.
perfect, and it goes through historical data too. Like,
Yes.
give me last 10 years worth of ads, and give me what really good. What do you feel good about it? And it gives me a score. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate this ad? It tells me this is just 2. I just don't look at it. I do the exact opposite of that. So yeah, so I'm working on this prompt engineering,
Good.
and also a few automations, like how I onboard my clients. Like, as soon as someone signs a contract, a invoice gets sent, an onboarding video gets sent, then also calendar booking links. So I'm working on automations for my business and my client's business as well. So these are two exciting projects I'm working on.
Excellent, excellent. And gosh, I was going to ask you a question and it just disappeared on me. I hate when that happens.
Oh, yeah, that happens a lot.
Um, oh yeah, you talked about ads maturing, and that does that mean that if you run ads for a period of time and then you pause them, and
Mm,
then maybe a few months later you run them again, that you kind of screw yourself up?
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Every
Yeah.
time you're
So if you're
starting
going to do
ad,
it, you really should just keep doing it
keep doing it.
because it only gets better over time because of the AI in the background and all of
Yes.
the stuff. But when you pause, are you starting from zero again or starting
Yes.
from, yeah,
Like
wow.
there's some cases where you already have data, right? You have your customer data, you have subscribers data, then I would say not from zero, but it's always like Google algorithm is always learning. And when we're just starting out, like even if you pause it for 30 days, right? Even if you pause it for 15 days, so it goes back into a learning mode again.
Uh, and then
Yeah.
you're slow to start again.
So to
So
start
you're
again.
better off to just kind of bite it.
Yeah.
Right?
Keep
And
doing it. Yeah.
yeah,
And have an
but you
offer,
can,
right? Like have a
yeah,
very good offer. Yeah.
yeah. The foundation always has to be there, right?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
your website has to have the right messaging
Mm-hmm.
because it doesn't mean you can have a kick-ass ad, and then when they land on your website, if the website doesn't speak to your problem,
Believe.
then you're gonna bounce, right? So
Yeah.
there's a whole process. I always
Mm-hmm.
like tell people you got to have a strong foundation to market from because if you don't, you're not helping yourself. So you
Yeah.
have to know who your ideal customer is. You have to know the big problem you're solving. You have to work within a niche, within uh,
Mm-hmm.
a small market, and then get bigger and expand and add more services and so on. But people who say they're industry agnostic don't realize you cannot be something to everyone. Your messaging will be so diluted, it will mean
Oh yeah.
nothing to anyone.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Especially in the current age, I call this as like everybody is aware of marketing now. Like everyone knows about marketing messages, unless until the marketing message doesn't speak to them, it
Yeah,
won't convert, right? Like we cannot really broadly say like, I work with medical professionals. We have to even niche down who are these medical professionals. Are they doctors? Are they nurses? Are they
yeah,
anything? Like if you speak more in their language, that
yeah.
converts more. Like I have data to back that up. Like when we are very generic, when we were broad, nobody cares about them. It's like you remember there's this psychological experiment where um, if there is a group of people and one guy gets injured, nobody is going to go and attend them. But if the injured person points out to one person and say help, that person comes forward and the rest of them follow. So it's more like that because the rest of the people are thinking, oh, maybe he might help. Oh, maybe he might help or he might help. So it's more like that. So always speak to the person whom you want to convert to your client, and that works very well. It works wonders.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much, Sagar. I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us today.
Yep.
And so I'm going to end this call. If what website is it? Standardmarketing.ca.
Standard dash marketing.ca.
Okay.
The other
And
standard marketings too, but yeah, this is dot
we
.ca.
want to
Remember,
find you. We want to make sure we find you. So standard-marketing.ca
CA. Yeah.
for Sagar if you're looking for some help with your digital ads. And the Fractional Referral Network if you're a fractional professional looking to connect and be featured on a weekly call and connect with other fractionals and score some referrals, where you can find us on School. Thank
Oh,
you.
thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to end this. Hang on.